Hey guys, what is up? Mystar back with another video for you guys. I probably cut out half of the fucking intro there. What is up? Mystar back with another video for you guys. I hope you guys are having a good time wherever you are. And today I wanted to talk about, well, actually, before I do get into that, I want to do a quick volume test because my volume's been a bit funky lately. Yeah, we're good for volume, so I'm just going to get straight into it. Um, what's it called? Today I wanted to do a video. It's kind of a basic video. Some of you guys might think it's a little bit basic, but that's all right. I feel like it's still a necessary video to be made. It's a necessary video to be talked about. And I also think even if you do think that it's a basic topic, I still think that there would be some good points and good how do I say, like, knowledge or wisdom within the certain concept that I'm about to break down. But to give it a title, basically, it's the concept I'm wanting to talk about today is to know that everything is a reflection. Everything is a reflection of your internal realm. I've pretty much talked about this already on my channel before, like when I talk about how everything condenses from the mental to the physical, as you know. But basically, and this is just like looking at it from a different sort of angle, I guess you could say. If I do think that this video is kind of irrelevant and that I just brought up shit that I would have brought up in the past, I'll just end up deleting it anyway. So whatever, no biggie. Yeah. So what's it called? Hey, sorry guys. I thought I had my notes up, but I need to get them up. So yeah, getting straight into it. Everything is a tool. Everything in this reality is a tool or a reflection. So when I say tool, it's really just an ability for you to be able to adjust whatever you're projecting from your reflection, right? Because if everything's from the internal to the external, if everything's subjective, then objective, then you're able to see that if you can change your subjective, then you'll be able to change your objective reality, right? If you can change your internal reality, you'll be able to change your external reality. This is how everything comes into existence. This is literally life. This is why, you know, you can even take this all the way down to, I've explained this in past videos as well, but you have to sit there and think first or react to something in order for you to actually hop up and act accordingly, right? So for it's always the reaction first. Even if you were to sit there, like if there was nothing for you to react to respond to from what you're receiving, you wouldn't push out anything because you wouldn't have anything to react or respond to, right? So this is everything's internal first. This is why everything's internal first. So you couldn't even react or act on a situation unless the situation existed before you reacted or acted on that situation. So you get where I'm going with this? Basically, everything's subjective, then objective first. So when it comes to this is how you could tell that everything in your reality is a reflection, all the way to the minute, tiniest little details, right? This goes way deeper than a lot of people, I feel like, give it credit for. But just as an example, when you what's it called? When you allow yourself to think in a certain way, this is like the observer effect. If anyone's heard of the observer effect, right? You start observing a situation in a certain way. You start developing thoughts and feelings about a situation in a certain way, and then that'll in turn develop into you experiencing that in a certain way, right? So as long as you're observing, the way that you're observing it is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about how everything is just a tool. Your ability to change the way that you're observing something is your tool, is your ability to use that as a tool, right? But depending on how well or how much you can do that will determine, it would be based on how much practice, how much energy work you've put into that thing, and so on and so forth. But basically, it's your ability to be able to transmute whatever your reflection is in your reality, whatever's being externalized, transmute it into something that's more beneficial for you and your path, right? As an example, something negative may happen to you, right? Something may happen to you to the point where, even to the point where, let's say you may have gotten shot in the freaking foot. Like, this is just a at the gate example. You can still choose to respond to that event in a different way other than constantly feeling like, woe is me, or you're being punished, right? Because you're already setting up that mentality for yourself. Oh, you're being punished. And what are you going to see? You're going to see examples of that from your reality based on the observer effect or whatever the fuck. But really, at the end of the day, it's just life. The observer effect is just a way of explaining life, period. But that's just a template that I'm trying to use to get others to understand what kind of point I'm trying to make. But we don't even need the observer effect to know that this is life. Like, if you're spiritually aware enough, you can already tell based on certain events and situations that you go through that everything is a reflection, right? All the way down to the certain thoughts and the certain subtle feelings that you might have. You might feel like you're out of place. So you're obviously going to experience and resonate with experiences and circumstances that show you that you're out of place in reality, right? So anytime a situation like this shows up in your reality, if instead of looking at it from a point of view of, oh, woe is me, this is happening to me, look at it from a point of view of, oh wow, this is actually an opportunity for me to be able to bring light to this situation. So instead of it coming up to the surface and you being like, oh no, this is something punishing me, this is like my karma or whatever, which to a certain degree it may be a part of your karma, but that doesn't mean that you have to look at it as a punishment. That's just an opportunity for you to be able to analyze what you've been portraying, what you've been projecting in your reality, and how you can transmute that experience to be more in your favor. So instead of looking at it like, woe is me, I'm actually alone and blah, 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 you're able to be like, oh, well, actually, this situation has given me the opportunity, the benefit for me to transmute this experience, to transmute my internal reaction to it, so that I can react to it in a way that actually benefits me in my reality, rather than something that just brings you down, and then it'll constantly leave you in a perpetual cycle of punishing yourself. Because that's really all you're doing at the end of the day. You're just putting witchcraft on yourself so that you can be punished, when really you can cast witchcraft on yourself, trick your mind, which is really what witchcraft low-key is, but it goes deeper than that. But tricking your mind, putting witchcraft on your mind so that you can actually see the benefits from that situation rather than seeing the negatives. This is why so many situations in our reality, like in our external reality that the shadow government set up, is low-key set up for you to react in that negative way where you're thinking that you're punishing yourself. I made a video of this in the past. It's called It's Not All Your Fault, if you want to hear a little bit deeper into that. But basically, the way the system is set up is for you to feel like that it's your fault, because then the shadow government doesn't get the blame. They don't get the repercussions or the karma, because you're not bringing light to that situation, and the energy is not able to go where it's meant to be, because that's where it came from. If you're just accepting that, you're putting on, you're literally casting witchcraft on yourself to take on that generational curse that they've put onto you, where you're saying that it's your fault, that you deserve these experiences, you deserve to be in poverty, you deserve to be in XYZ. But poverty wouldn't exist if the system wasn't set up in order for poverty to be a certain outcome based on a certain situation that could come from the system itself. You know what I mean? So they create the problem and the solution. Don't ever forget that. And they create the idea first. But in order for the freaking problem to be there, has to be an idea. So they created the idea, and then the problem is also a creation of theirs. So just look at it for what it is, instead of looking at it from a perspective of that you're being punished. So yeah, anyways, that's another video. You guys can go check out that video if you want. So this world is this goes on to my point. This world is run by men in the first place, so always remember that. So even certain stuff that people think is a natural reaction to stuff, a natural response to shit, is actually a synthetic man-made response to something. So as an example, you may think it's natural to think that humans are bad, right? Most people will go around this world in the modern times and say, "Oh, humans are bad. They're bad by nature," and so on and so forth. Maybe to a certain degree that may be true, but at the end of the day, your nature can be changed based on your internal, because it's always internal and then external. So if human is an external experience, right, then that shows what kind of space everyone was in order for us to be creating this external experience for us to see in our physical reality. And I also want to bring up this point as well, because it's not like you can just will something into reality. It's not like I can just sit there and manifest a feather right in my hand out of thin air, right? We all do this collectively with all of our awareness, and we all work together. Teamwork makes the dream work. So it doesn't just take one person to create the human experience, to create our physical reality. It takes all of us, as teamwork makes the dream work. Even non-humans, even animals, bugs, everything, like all of us work together. Teamwork makes the dream work to create this physical reality. This is why everyone says it's like all what is it, like oneness or some shit like that. It's like, there's always truth to certain things, but it's just the way that people are looking at it that sometimes gets a little bit lost. So if you freaking, what's it called, look at it from that perspective, then you'll be able to find the truth in things a lot more. But that takes practice too. So what's it called? But yeah, you may think that humans, and by nature they're mentally ill, or by nature they are X, Y, and Z, right? And by some degree, you may be correct. But think about what the humans are raised by, to look up to and uphold, which is man-made concepts, and of the biggest corporation that rules the world, right? So if they're sitting there being told to, or being taught to uphold certain concepts and ideas, then it's like blaming the child and for what the parent has raised the child to be like, right? So obviously the child at a certain degree, once the child gets to an adult age, the child has a responsibility of their own, right? But the parent also has that role to be the parent and to lead the child towards a beneficial circumstance. Sorry guys. So when you see it from that perspective, a lot of the flaws and the incapabilities that the human race has can be boiled down to the system that we're in. And this is not about pointing fingers and trying to blame anybody. At the end of the day, for them to have a system as flawed as it is just shows what kind of mental space that they were in. You know what I mean? So it's really low key, like everyone should be helping everyone, because based on the system that they've created, it's clear that teamwork makes the dream work is the best outcome for everyone. Because if we were to all work together, the people who rule the system might actually be able to learn some stuff from you, me, or anyone from the general population. But it's just to say that, how do I say this? How do I put this into words? They may be just as mentally ill as you are in certain capabilities, or in certain aspects, or in certain people in the government may be just as mentally ill, if not more mentally ill than you are. So when you bring it down to that concept, it's really not about pointing fingers and blaming. It's about, okay, what should we fix and what do we need to readjust for reality to be more sufficient for everyone involved, not just for an individual person or the people in rulership or an individual group of people, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's not about blaming anyone, though there are some instances where blame can be put. But, that's a case-to-case basis, and that depends on the individual circumstance in itself, so, and the individual spirit as well. So you can't just go blaming every single Mason for what a certain group of Masons have done. At the end of the day, we know this from just reality, living life every single day. If you've been out into the world, you can't just blame one demographic, one group of people, for what a select few people in that group of demographic of people have done, right? But as a collective, that demographic and that group upholds a certain ideal. And in which case, with that ideal, if it does not resonate and does not correlate with a better reality or a more sufficient, more healthy reality that we want to see, then, we've got to throw that whole system away, or at least throw away whatever doesn't work from it, and just take what will work and what does benefit society as a whole. So, but yeah, anyways, let's not get too deep into that, because I didn't want to go too deep into this side of the conversation. I more just wanted to stick into everything as a reflection at the end of the day. But even the fact that the shadow government is, what's it called, in that position of rulership, right? They obviously, from their subjective point of view, see themselves to be above people to a certain degree in order for them to even be in a rulership position in reality. So when you take it from that perspective too, then you can see as well, like, everyone who, like, people like me and you, or just, people who from the same background as me and you, to a certain degree, you must see, a lot of humans must see themselves as needing to be ruled by someone, needing to have someone to look after them, right? So that indicates, like, from the subjective point of view, the human psyche, in a way, has a certain degree of dependency tied to it. So this is something that we've created and manifest from the mental to the physical. So in order to or destroy that concept, in order to get out of that concept, humans need to take charge of their life and gain some form of independence, whatever that means for you, because at the end of the day, independence may not look the same for me or for you. So that depends on the individual. But the point is that there's some form of dependency there in order for people to be relying on people in government and in rulership. And this goes back to that subjective. Everything is a reflection. So once you realize that everything is a reflection, you can adjust accordingly based on what you're experiencing in your reality. Once you say, oh, okay, I've been experiencing a whole bunch of isolation circumstances. I've been experiencing a whole bunch of people not being true to me, right? Or being deceitful. So what have you done in order to deceive yourself? And it may not be so simple, because a lot of people, and I'm guilty as well, in the past I've gotten lost into this concept too, where a lot of people may get lost into the concept and think, oh, well, actually, I try my best to uphold honesty and be as honest as I can to others and so on and so forth. But are you honest to yourself? Are you really honest to yourself? Or do you just gaslight yourself every time that you pick up on certain thoughts, certain feelings that you may get from others? You may know that someone's being deceitful, or you may know that someone's acting a certain way, but you constantly gaslight and trick yourself into thinking otherwise. And then that's a form of deceit in its own way. So that's how you can involve yourself into a world of people who are deceitful without actually being deceitful externally in the physical world when you're relating to others, So it's all about having that, what is it? Self-awareness, or self-reflecting first. So always reflect on yourself and what you've put into the situation first, and then you'll be able to look at everything from a more of an equilibrium perspective. And then you can actually use proper discernment, because a lot of people may struggle with discernment. It's usually the reason why they're struggling with discernment is because there's a whole bunch of, oh, well, I'm not sure if this is from me or from them. If you look at everything and realize that everything is a self-reflection, everything is a projection of your internal realm, then you'll be able to see, oh, okay, actually, I put in this much, and this much. And that's not to say, like, just because you may see something in someone else, that is always going to be a reflection. That may be true about that person, right? But it's about knowing that even though that may be true, you're still seeing it from your own subjective glasses, your own subjective point of view. Because you can't jump out of your own mind. You can't stop being you. I can't jump out of my body and stop seeing things from my own individual perspective, right? So that's how you can tell, yes, at the end of the day, you're seeing it from a more unbiased perspective, but still knowing and having that equilibrium at the end of the day that everything is still a self-reflection, everything is still a projection. So then you'll be able to actually see things from an equilibrium perspective, and shit that you do come up with. And when you do say certain things, and when you do come across people in a certain way where you're saying, actually, no, I don't like this, I don't want this in my reality, I don't want this, X, Y, and Z, you're able to do it in a more healthy way, because you actually know deep down what you've put into a certain situation, right? So this is how you can have a healthy mindset, a healthy relationship to the outside world around you, because you know at the end of the day, it's all self-reflection first. So you always self-reflect first, and then you go into the external world and start to make sense out of things. Not going into the external world and then trying to self-reflect based on what you've seen in the external world. That's how people get so lost, because they're doing it backwards, and then they don't realize they've gone so far down the rabbit hole, and then they have to come to certain videos like this where they need that little bit of clarity or guidance, which I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with coming to certain videos like this for clarity and for guidance, and there's nothing wrong with needing that. But it's just a ability to be able to see where certain pathways may lead to, so it's just about seeing things for what they are and where they might lead down, what roads they might take you down. So what's it called? So if there were sufficient systems in place, then people wouldn't feel the need to resort to certain decisions due to everything working well. Everything would work sufficiently. People would be taught sufficiently. People would actually, be rehabilitated, as they say with jail, rehabilitated sufficiently to the point where they're actually able to come back into society and be sufficient. But even then, in a perfect system, if the system was really running perfectly and sufficiently, I don't think there would be even a need for rehabilitation in the first place, because people wouldn't be so far as to be in that mind state in the first place. And that goes down to as well, like the kind of world that we live in, and the kind of mind states that everyone's in due to the system, how the society is, and so on and so forth. That enables everyone to be having kids that are in that mindset, kids that are in that mind frame too. So now you're projecting out literal physical kids into your reality, because everything condenses from the mental to the physical. Even your child, that's literally a certain concept or thought that you would have had at one point in your life that eventually came out as a child. This is why your child can have similar certain characteristics as you, but they may not have exactly the same intelligence and so on and so forth. They have the same physical body as you. They may look the same, but their way that they express and utilize their certain body may be completely different to you. So these are how it bends in from the mental to the physical. Your child is developing a character that's similar to you because you were in a similar character when you had that child. This is why you can go back to when you had certain children and think about what kind of mindset you were in, and you'll be able to see that you were literally in the same mindset or similar mindset as how your child's characteristics would play out. So for me, the mindset that my parents would have been in a kind of mindset of fixing or finding solutions or teaching or learning about something. So because I love to learn, I love to teach, I love to find solutions in certain situations. But mainly I love to learn and I love to teach. And I'm a Taurus, so stability, security, and I'm on the cusp of Gemini. So that's communication and ideas. So it would have been in that realm of where what kind of mental space my parents would have been in order to have me as a child. This is how you can have children. Yeah, anyways, that's another video. Let's not get too deep into that. And shout out to Dollar to Parliament. He talks about this all the time. So if you want to check out some more, go check out his channel. And if there was, no, I already read that point. Sorry, guys. Handled and so everything working well and things being handled in a way. Yeah, so if the system was sufficient enough, then things would be handled in a way where solutions would be found instead of constantly just creating band-aids to certain solution or to certain problem. Like how there's always a pill, but where are the cures? There's always a vaccine, but where is the cure? The vaccine is just what? How many times you need to take the vaccine before, or how long do you need to have the vaccine for before you need to take another one? That's not even a cure. That's not a band-aid. That's a band-aid. So it just shows you what kind of starting point the government is in order to be projecting those kind of experiences in into your reality and out, so on and so forth. And even humanity as a collective. Humanity as a collective is obviously not trying to go out and subjectively look for solutions to certain things. Otherwise, we would have more cures. We would have more solutions. We would have more, things being resolved. So just the fact that how the world is right now shows the subjective space that everyone is in order to be condensing this into the physical reality as we know it. So that's how you can get lost into giving your power away, thinking that some external God might be punishing you because you're like, oh, well, actually, I'm experiencing this because of XYZ or karma, which is another man-made concept. Karma is just a subjective point of view of someone else's experience of what I'm telling you right now, which is that everything condenses from the mental to the physical. So that person who experienced karma, they only saw it from that one specific perspective of karma. But there's many different ways that you can see karma. There's many different ways you can see everything condensed from the mental to the physical. So don't get lost into just the negative part of it, because then you're giving your power away to whoever made that concept, saying, oh, God's punishing you. But the only way that you know about that concept is through another man. So you're calling another man God inadvertently. And this is how they keep everyone in witchcraft. This is literally how they built the language so that everyone can put that's like a way that they get everyone to sacrifice to their God, sacrifice to their deity, because they're saying, oh, I'm getting punished because of X, Y, and Z. But you wouldn't feel like you're getting punished if there wasn't an idea, problem, and solution in the first place. If there wasn't a system in the first place for you to feel like you were getting a punishment, right? And there wouldn't, even the concept of punishment itself, like, bruh. Anyways, regardless. So once you realize that, you realize, oh, well, nobody's actually punishing anyone. It's really just a man-made world that man is trying to make everyone think that they're getting punished so that they can give away more of their esoteric currency to others who are in a position of power. So once you realize that little game, you can just jump out of that game, a lot more smoother, because now you know how to play it and you know how it's playing you. So anyways, bruh, that's literally what I wrote in my notes. That's so me. So before you know of certain concepts in your reality, you could have called it anything. Once the name and title is slapped on it, now you have like a filter or a glasses of some sort. So the sun didn't have to be called the sun. The sun could have been called anything in the world. The concept of the sun itself, the characteristics that the sun portrays and that you may be able to extract from it, may be similar, different, whatever. But the title and the name itself and the concept behind the title and the name, that didn't have to be there. But because it's there, now you've got like a filter of you looking at the sun in a certain way and seeing it as though it's like it's like, what's it called? It's the sun, Sorry, I didn't know how to explain that. But yeah, like it's the sun, right? So now you're putting, that's like someone else's concept of what it is. It could be anything. It didn't have to be that. And just because they say that it's that, a lot of people automatically be like, oh, well, no, yeah, that's true, because they have more science and blah, blah, blah to back it up. But at the end of the day, you could have had more science too. You just didn't take the time or didn't have the resources to be able to execute that in your reality. But who's to say that you might not be able to come up with a better concept than them? That's where they get you lost, because they make you think that they have the best concept. So they still play God in that way, where they're putting themselves above you, where you're having to uphold their concept and just think, oh, well, someone's already discovered the sun, so why would I have to discover or name it anything? But not realizing just because they discovered and named the sun that does not mean that that's the best way or the most sufficient or, the best way that you should be naming or discovering the sun to be. This is like back to another video that I watched from Dolo, where he talked about psyching yourself up. If you look at the sun every day, right, psych yourself up. Be like, literally psych yourself up and look at the sun and be like, what the fuck is that? Like, no joke. And you will start to develop more concepts, because you're putting yourself in that space of where someone was before they knew about the concept of what a sun was. And you can do this with many different things. It doesn't have to be the sun, but that's just a starting point of how you can pull yourself back into that mind state of not knowing anything or not having a template of a title to frame something in your reality, so you can kind of take off those glasses and see things a little bit more for what they are. So that's a little template for anyone who may want to use that. Shout out to Dollar Partman again. Sorry guys, my freaking nose ring. There we go. No, it's not even clicked. Could have called it anything. I'm just going to read my notes while I do this anyway. You look at it, you're thinking of that word, and that goes back to the spirit who made that term. Yeah, so when you're thinking of that word, all that energy that goes to the spirit who made that word. So you're like giving them power in a way, which, you know, I'm not saying that it's bad to give someone power, you know, but you choose who you want to give your power to. And if you don't want to give your power to them, then I'm telling you right now, that's what you're doing, so you can stop, you know? So anyways, you could use your mouth and words to call it anything. And these are the tools you can use, but because of how the world is they want you to use your tools, your gifts, and your abilities for their intellectual property, their mind, their concepts, their worldview. And that's literally what the New World Order is. Like, they've got everyone wrapped up in their concepts, their mind. That is the New World Order. So it's not some kind of weird, like, control thing where, like, they have martial law, which, don't get me wrong, that probably would be something later on down the line. They're probably planning on doing shit like that anyway. But it starts with the mental to the physical, and they know this. So when they are implementing martial law, that's literally them controlling your mind, making sure that you think in a certain way. You have certain concepts built in a certain way. You have certain words and ideas that you have to abide by or think of or consider when you're going about their world and their reality. So what's it called? Yeah, this whole world is built from them. So now their world is more important than the things that you uphold. If you think that you know, it's the end all be all, their world. So, you know, you may think that art is really, really good or really important, right? But you may diminish the meaning or the importance or the value that you put on your art because they've developed and put your mind in a certain way where you have to think that it's more important for you to do left brain logical type of shit in their world, or just to do everything like kind of more external, which low key they're making everyone go more internal anyway, because they're trying to make everyone go indoors with lockdown and shit like that. But that's besides the point. But yeah, but they got everyone lost in the external first. They got everyone lost into thinking the external is what you need to put your energy and uphold to. But really, you should be upholding something internal first. You should be putting value to something that you hold value to, something that's more internally valuable to you. And then you start to see value in your external. It's not like the opposite where you put value into something external, because then what if that external thing disappears one day? Then you've lost the thing that you value. If you put value to something internal, that could come or go, but you know at the end of the day that it was internal in the first place. So you can just go back to that internal space again. You can just be in that internal space again. You can just experience that internally again. Or you can just, yeah, you can just do that again. And you most likely won't even lose it because it's something internal. It's something that you're cultivating and building from inside of you. So it's bound to come into your physical reality anyway. It may take a little bit slower because you're manifesting it the natural way, but there are ways to speed it up, but that's besides the point. You're supposed to uphold and value things internally first. And then you'll be able to value something externally afterwards, because you've already put value into something internally, and then you can see what externally allows you to put more value to what you already have internally. So then you start to experience all kind of shit that gives you value, or you'll be able to put value to. So that's how you can, yeah. So what's it called? Yeah, and some stuff is important for you to uphold. Some stuff is good for you to value. That's not to say that you shouldn't value anything in their world, anything in their concept. So bring it back to always to an equilibrium space. But when you're constantly upholding these things like they're the highest, they're the pinnacle of everything, and so on and so forth, that's when it gets demonic as fuck. Because now you're just upholding something like a light, like a Lucifer, and worshiping it like some kind of deity or god, and that's not how we flow. At the end of the day, you know, demons want to be worshipped. So when it comes to that kind of shit, like you should be worshipping the things that you want to worship, not the shit that other people want you to worship, other concepts that people want you to put their attention to and their appreciation, etc. Because at the end of the day, if something wants to be worshipped, that sounds like something that wants attention, right? And that's the definition of what it is to be a demon, for you to constantly crave and want attention or do something for attention rather than to do something from your genuine individuality for who you are and what you um, resonate with in your space. So, anyways, you can make up your own signs, symbols, and rituals as well. Like I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this a few times in other videos and stuff like that. But they've created a whole bunch of signs, sigils, symbols, titles, rituals, all that shit. You can create your own. You don't have to abide and follow by their rituals and spells, which a lot of people do. This is everyone pretty much does in this reality. But yeah, even down to their houses. That's a certain ritual and spell that they've built. That's why houses have a triangle or a pyramid on top. They're telling you as well, like they're literally showing you in your physical reality, the kind of shit that they did to build the world, the kind of rituals and spells that they did to build the world. And it's all based on the sun transitions and, anthro extracting a character out of a certain sun transition. So like an example of this is like the middle of the day. What do they call it? Noon, high noon, or noon. Anu, they call it Anubis or Anu. So when they talk about Anu, that's just 12 noon and in the middle of the day when the sun is at its highest point. So once it's at its highest point, any character that they can extract out of that, what is that? What is when something's at its highest point? It can see things from a high perspective, right? This develops into as well like the four kind of energy because you're seeing a space from above, so that's like fourth dimensional kind of energy. That's actually also why I even named the video this title, because use everything for you. So you look at it from the outside, jump out of the three, jump out of the environment or the space, and be in the fourth dimension, and think about, oh, okay, how can I utilize this to the best of my advantage? How can I analyze this and adjust my reality based on what I've projected or what I've created within this space? So yeah, what's it called? So when I'm talking about everything being a tool, it's just you conversating, you developing a rapport with the universe so you can utilize your ability to transmute whatever experience comes your way and then utilize that thing as a tool. A lot of people are lost into that concept where they think that everything is woe is me. But once you realize that everything is literally just a tool and you can transmute it and change it to what you want it to be, what you want to see it like, then you can actually, change your reality a lot more, transform your life a lot better. And as well, like back to as well, like if you push yourself into a point where you're in a world or surrounded by a bunch of people that, because I can't remember exactly how I brought up this freaking part of the video, but in order for you to be in that certain situation where you're around certain energies and certain concepts like this, it was the deceit I was talking about. When you're around people who are deceitful, right? You may think that it's not actually you being deceitful, but you may be deceiving yourself in that circumstance. So that's how you can look at it and transmute it and be like, oh, well, no, this is the opportunity for me to transmute and change this so that I can realize to be more truthful and be more honest with me. Because I know the truth of my reality. I know my own discernment, my own intuition is telling me X, Y, and Z. So if you go with that rather than ignoring it and, you know, going with whatever the physical reality is showing. Because the physical reality is a fucking illusion, I swear, guys. That shit is a straight up illusion. Like, it's fake. It's more like a dream than the dream world. The dream world is more real than the physical reality. But that's another video. But yeah, physical reality is a straight up illusion. And once you can actually just stop letting the physical reality convince you to go off your path, then you'll be able to actually manifest things a lot faster for you, you know? So it's not about woe is me, oh, well, you know, I put myself in this situation. It's really just like, oh, okay, cool. This is another lesson for me to be able to grow and expand my spirit to take myself to the next level. And then once you've already shifted your mindset into that perspective, you already feel and think that way, you're obviously only going to be able to experience that in your reality. So it doesn't matter what experience shows you and says, oh, actually, no. Because at the end of the day, you've already framed your mindset, you've already put your subjective reality in that space. So you're only going to see the results of what you put your subjective reality into. So yeah, the substance that you use to project things, to manifest things in your reality is your awareness, right? Because two people could be being aware and watching the same thing, but they get two different things out of it. This is because their awareness is what's creating their mind to filter them to see the world, or their awareness is their mind, basically, I think. So they're aware of different things, to condense for their mind to condense into their physical reality for them to receive it through their chakras, you know. So if you're aware of a certain concept, you know, in order for you to even receive that in your reality, you have to be aware of that world in the first place, right? So if you're in a world of toxic people, then what kind of mental space would you have to be in order for you to condense into that reality, right? So it's not about pointing fingers, you know. And at the end of the day, you could point the finger at anyone, but you're the one who has the spiritual responsibility to get up and go wherever the heck you want to go. You don't have to experience the things that you experience every single day. You can choose to go to the bus station instead of the shops, you know? Like, that's a dumb example, but you get the where I'm going with this. You can choose to spend money on freaking, what's it called? Something that'll benefit you or something that'll fulfill your desires, right? So this is where you know, everyone can be experiencing the same kind of reality, but it's about the spirit, and the spirits that utilizing whatever awareness and however you're directing your awareness is what you're gonna keep on experiencing in your physical reality. So but once you switch your awareness, it could be literally the same circumstance, but as soon as you switch it up, boom, now you're experiencing a different reality because you took yourself to a different mental space. So this is how you can travel literally in an instant, mentally and then physically. So this is really what it's talking about when people talk about materializing or manifesting or whatever the heck you want to put words to. But it's just life. So you can travel to a place of feeling good in an instant as well. Freaking Dollar Parliament has a really good video on this one. So if you want to go check out his channel, it's called Learn How to Feel Good by Feeling Good. Freaking amazing video. I highly recommend. But yeah, you can literally feel good in an instant. Like, you don't have to wait around for something external to show you to feel good. Once you start realizing that you can create those feelings for yourself, you can feel good. You can feel like you did the right thing. You can feel like you've gotten over something. You can feel all these things in an instant, but you just need to know how to. So, you know, you already know what it feels like to feel good. So you can just feel good. You can just like envision it, go to that place and feel it. Like, I'm literally feeling it right now, to the point where like I felt like I needed to laugh. No joke. Because that's how easy it is. Like, but yeah, anyways, if you want to check out more of that video, there's another video on that Dolo bit put on. So yeah, once you know your power, most stuff becomes an opportunity. Even negative shit is an opportunity for you to exercise your strength and your willpower to overcome or transmute that experience, right? So the most negative, stupid, dumbest circumstance that you hate could be an opportunity for you to challenge yourself so that you can have more strength and willpower to jump into a more lighter experience, a more better experience for yourself. So really, like, it gets to a certain point where even negative shit is like low key. Like sometimes you'd be looking, like sometimes I've been looking forward to negative shit because I know that that negative situation is going to give me some form of clarity or give me something to be able to work with, right? So I can take myself to the next level. So sometimes, don't get me wrong, like other times I might be like, oh fuck, I don't want to deal with this, but you know that's a work in progress. But the more you train your mind, the more you'll be able to experience stuff and be like, actually, even though this is negative, this pissed me off, but at the end of the day, I can see how this will benefit me in the long run. So I can't even be mad. Like you will literally, it might not be those exact thoughts and feelings that you develop because that may be my own individual space, my own individual thoughts of what my subjective reality is. But you know, you may come to a similar conclusion for yourself. So yeah, like no joke, some certain situations I feel like I can't even be upset because I still know deep down that that is an experience for me to be able to grow and learn off of and to take myself to the next level. And bro, I'm all about growing and learning and expanding, so I don't give a shit how it comes, what kind of shape or form it comes in. Actually, no, I won't even say that because you sometimes I get frustrated, sometimes I do be given the shit, so let's bar that. Yeah, the more you train your mind to do that, the more that will bend into your experiences as well. So everything is subjective and then objective. So yeah, once you get a hold of that, you'll be able to subjectively craft things in a more way that is better for what you objectively want to see. So then you'll be able to become an actual Mystar, an actual creator of your reality, not like, you know, anyways, that. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed this video today. I enjoyed talking about this certain topic, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was kind of nervous about this video, but I'm glad I pushed through. So, hope you guys have a great time, day, moment, wherever, whenever, however you are. And yes, enjoy Mystar out.